Stop whatever you're doing, because what I'm about to share might hit deeper than anything you've ever heard before. Most people will spend their entire lives breathing, working, existing, yet never truly living a single day that belongs to them. And if you're watching this at 2 a.m., wondering where your choices have led you, then this might just be the most important message you'll ever hear. Picture this. You're sitting beside someone on the train or scrolling through social media, and you realize something terrifying. Almost everyone around you is chasing a dream that isn't even theirs, while their real soul quietly withers away inside. You wake up every morning to an alarm that doesn't belong to you, to follow rules you never wrote, and go to sleep each night realizing another day has passed, doing things you never chose. But what if I told you there's a 5-century-old truth, a hidden code once used by some of the most powerful minds in history to escape this invisible prison we call normal life? A man named Niccolo Machiavelli once laid that code bare, not as a guide to manipulate others, but as a weapon to reclaim your throne in a world built to keep you kneeling. He didn't write The Prince for politicians or CEOs. He wrote it for anyone ready to break free from a system that quietly demands obedience. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you why conformity is the silent killer of greatness, why solitude can become your strongest weapon, and how to design a life so magnetic that others naturally follow your lead. But here's your warning. Once you see this, you'll never be able to unsee it. Your old life will look like a cage you willingly built. So, are you ready to wake up from the illusion? If you are, type this down below. I choose my path. 1. The illusion of conformity. Let's begin with a truth most people can't handle. From the moment you open your eyes as a newborn, the world begins shaping you not for your happiness, but for its convenience. You're told to go to school, get the grades, find a secure job, settle down, buy things you don't need, and eventually fade out quietly. It's the same story for billions, and yet that story was never written for you. It was written to keep you predictable. Think for a second. How many of your choices actually belong to you? What time you wake up, dictated by a job that drains you? What you wear, influenced by trends and judgment? What you eat, decided by ads and convenience? Even your dreams. We filtered through what society calls practical. You're told you're free, but it's an illusion. We're given endless options for the same meaningless things, thousands of brands, identical lifestyles, all to distract us from the fact that real choice has been stolen. You're not free, you're programmed. And it goes deeper. School teaches you to sit still, to ask for permission before speaking, to follow without question. Workplaces reward obedience over creativity and punish those who question authority. Your friends reinforce it too, through gossip about anyone who dares to be different, through fake smiles when you try something bold, through pressure to fit in. The result: a society of half-dead souls pretending to be alive. People who've become experts at imitation, forgetting who they ever were before the world told them who to be. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating a ruler's intelligence is to look at the men around him." But ask yourself this: what happens when you choose to stand alone? When you stop needing anyone's validation to think? Most people are terrified of that silence, because silence forces them to face their own thoughts. They'd rather drown in noise than listen to truth. They'd rather be wrong together than right by themselves. That fear, the fear of standing alone, keeps millions trapped in lives they never truly wanted. Think about your career. Did you choose it because it lights a fire in you? Or because it looks safe? Because it impressed others? Because your parents approved? Because it fit into the checklist of success? Be brutally honest. Look at your daily routine. Do you reach for your phone every morning because you want to, or because you're addicted to comparison? Do you consume what everyone else does because it feels safe to belong? When was the last time you made a decision that didn't depend on someone else's approval? It's the same with love and friendship. People settle for relationships that look perfect on Instagram, but feel hollow in real life. They stay in friendships built on habit, not connection. They perform instead of being real. Society promises you comfort, but it trades your soul for it. It promises belonging, but demands conformity. It promises success, but only in the way they define it. It promises happiness, but gives you numbness in disguise. And the cruelest part? Most people never notice the trap. They think they're unhappy because they lack money, or love, or status. But the truth is, they've been playing someone else's game all along. Real fulfillment, the kind that burns with purpose, exists outside that script. It begins the moment you stop performing and start existing as your truest self. That path will disappoint people who only loved your mask, but it will finally connect you to your real self. Write this in the comments. My path matters. 2. The strength of true self-reliance. Here's what most people get wrong. Choosing your own path doesn't mean isolating yourself or rejecting everyone. It's not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's strategy. Real independence isn't cutting the world off. It's learning to stand so firmly in yourself that no one else can shake your foundation. When you become self-reliant, your relationships transform. You stop chasing approval and start radiating confidence. You stop needing people and start attracting them naturally. You stop trying to fit in because you realize standing out is your greatest strength. Picture this. You're in a meeting. Everyone's nodding along to a terrible idea because no one wants to look difficult. You could stay silent or speak up. The weak either conform or rebel emotionally. The strong, the self-reliant, speak with calm authority. You've done your research, formed your own judgment, and when you finally speak, people listen. Not because you shouted the loudest, but because you carried conviction. That's the quiet power of independence. Self-reliance means controlling your inputs, where you get your information, what voices you let influence you, what standards you live by. It means deciding for yourself what success even means, not just chasing society's scoreboard. It means being so financially grounded that no one can buy your silence. It means being emotionally balanced enough to stand alone when everyone else runs toward the crowd. It means being curious enough to think for yourself instead of absorbing whatever's trending. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you truly are." And when you build yourself from within, people can feel it. They may not understand you, but they'll respect you. True independence doesn't weaken connection, it enhances it. Because when you bring a strong identity to the table, your presence has weight. When everyone thinks alike, no one truly thinks. But when you've forged your own viewpoint, your words cut through the noise like a blade. Every great visionary understood this. Jobs, Oprah, Musk, they didn't follow templates, they were the template. They didn't wait for permission, they created demand for their vision. That's why followers chase them, not because they ask to be followed, but because authenticity is magnetic. Here's the paradox. The more comfortable you get with solitude, the more others crave your leadership. The more you trust yourself, the more people trust you. The more real you become, the more real connections you attract. Even in negotiations, this power shines. When you don't need the deal, you get the best deal. When you're not desperate for approval, people give it freely. When you're willing to walk away, others bend to meet your terms. And the secret isn't manipulation, it's clarity. When you know who you are and where you're going, the world rearranges itself around that certainty. You stop chasing, you start attracting, you stop selling yourself, you start embodying your worth. This level of mastery takes time. It means saying no to good things so you can say yes to great ones. It means being misunderstood by many to be respected by few. It means enduring discomfort today for freedom tomorrow. Write this down below. I attract alignment. 3. The power of calculated risk. Now, let's talk about risk. Most people spend their lives running from it, yet never realize that avoiding risk is the greatest risk of all. Every breakthrough in history, every invention, every act of courage was born because someone chose uncertainty over comfort. But there's a difference between recklessness and calculation. The reckless jump blindly. The wise study the battlefield, prepare for multiple outcomes, and then strike when the timing is right. You see, the real fear of risk is the fear of accountability. When you play it safe, you get to blame fate for your misery. When you take risks, you have no one to blame success or failure. It's all on you. And that's terrifying for most. People would rather be victims of their circumstances than creators of their destiny. But as Machiavelli said, it is far safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. This doesn't mean cruelty. It means respect born from decisiveness. It means being known for your clarity, not your compliance. Every calculated risk, even when it fails, carries data, experience, and strength. Every mistake becomes a lesson written in your bones. Every setback becomes the foundation for your next victory. Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if you actually pursued your true dream? Failure, judgment, discomfort? Now compare that to the slow, silent decay of living a life that isn't yours. Which is worse? Fear of financial loss? You're already a prisoner to paychecks that don't reward your worth. Fear of rejection? You're already surrounded by people who don't really know you. Fear of failure? You're already failing to become who you could be. The truth is, the pain of taking a risk lasts a moment, but the pain of regret lasts forever. And when you finally choose courage, something changes in you. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I succeed? That's when you start living. That's when you start ruling your own kingdom. That's when you realize freedom was never something to find. It was something to claim. You've spent your whole life avoiding mistakes, playing it safe, following the rules. And one day, you'll realize you've built a life so safe that it never truly belonged to you. You'll die with your dreams still trapped inside your chest, your voice never heard, your potential never touched. See, the real tragedy isn't failing. It's never daring to begin. Machiavelli taught that foresight isn't about fearing the future. It's about mastering it. Being strategic isn't pessimism, it's protection. When you've already envisioned the possible setbacks, when you've mentally rehearsed every worst-case outcome, you stop walking with fear and start moving with power. Let's talk about the real art of calculated risk, because this is the bridge between potential and power. First, you must decide exactly what it is you're aiming for and why it matters. Without clarity, your energy scatters in every direction. Don't just dream vaguely about success. Define what success looks like for you. Feel it. Visualize it. Understand why it pulls you. Because when your purpose is clear, no obstacle can shake your resolve. Next, face your fears with brutal honesty. Write them down. Don't let them hide in the shadows. Most fears evaporate under inspection. You'll find that half the things holding you back exist only in your imagination. You fear being broke, but you're already trapped in financial routines that steal your time. You fear rejection, but you already silence yourself daily to be accepted. You fear failure, yet failure is the only path that ever built greatness. Now, prepare for reality. Build contingency plans, not because you expect to fail, but because you're wise enough to adapt. When Plan A collapses, Plan B becomes a new route, not a retreat. This flexibility is what separates visionaries from victims. The powerful don't pray for stability, they prepare for change. Then, start small. You don't need to gamble your whole life on one dramatic move. Take smaller, smarter bets. Build your tolerance for uncertainty. Each small victory increases your confidence. Each small risk expands your courage. Growth isn't a leap, it's a series of deliberate steps. Also, set a timeline. Define checkpoints. Ask yourself, how will I measure progress? When will I reassess? This keeps you from giving up too soon, or wasting years chasing something that no longer serves you. And then, act. Because all your plans, all your insights, all your fears mean nothing until you move. There's no perfect moment, no perfect knowledge. Action creates clarity. Movement reveals truth. The person who never risks never wins. The one who never dares never becomes. Understand this. Risk is not your enemy. Safety is. Uncertainty isn't the threat. Stagnation is. The unknown isn't what destroys people. The known, the dull, repetitive routine is what kills them slowly. So, drop this affirmation in your mind and write it if you dare. I embrace the unknown. I walk with uncertainty. I move with intent. Now, let's talk about forging your own path, because awareness without direction means nothing. Creating your path doesn't mean rebelling against everything society offers. It means filtering it, choosing what aligns with your true essence and discarding what doesn't. The first step? Ruthless honesty. Not the kind you show to others, the kind you owe yourself. What do you truly want? Not what your parents wanted. Not what social media says looks impressive. Not what tradition calls respectable. No, what you crave when nobody's watching. Ask yourself, if failure didn't exist, if judgment didn't matter, what would you chase? What ignites that rare feeling of being alive? That's your signal. That's your truth. But here's the challenge: most people have been disconnected from that truth for so long, they've forgotten what it feels like. They've buried their curiosity under the weight of expectations. So go back, trace your steps. Remember the child who dreamed before being told to be realistic. That's where your authenticity hides. This journey isn't a one-time revelation. Your purpose will evolve, your path will shift, and that's okay. What matters is staying loyal to your inner compass, not the map. Machiavelli once wrote that the lion can't avoid traps and the fox can't fight wolves. which means the wise must be both clever enough to see danger and courageous enough to face it. You'll need intelligence to strategize and boldness to act. Start with a personal audit. Look at your life as if you were an outsider. What feels aligned with your truth, and what exists only because you're afraid to change it. Be brutally honest, because you can't navigate to freedom while lying about your current location. Examine your days. How many hours are spent doing things that drain you? How many moments are invested in what excites you? How many relationships exist out of obligation instead of genuine connection? Once you start seeing clearly, the path starts forming on its own. Now, identify your core triad, your strengths, your fascinations, and your values. This is your blueprint. Your strengths aren't just your job skills. They're your instincts, your insights, your temperament. Your fascinations are the subjects that make time disappear when you engage with them. And your values are the principles you defend even when it costs you something. Your authentic path lives where these three overlap. Then, move. Slowly, steadily, with intention. You don't need to burn everything down to start over. Begin with daily steps that point toward your real direction. Maybe it's waking up an hour early to work on your craft, or learning a new skill, or reaching out to someone who inspires you. It's not about intensity, it's about persistence. Small daily moves create unstoppable momentum. 1 page a day becomes a book, 1 small risk a week becomes transformation. And define success your way. Society screams that success is wealth, fame, or admiration. But maybe for you, it's freedom. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's creating something that outlives you. Choose your metrics, or the world will choose them for you. Build your own feedback system. Don't chase validation through likes or applause. Measure progress by your growth, not attention. Are you becoming wiser, stronger, more aligned? That's the only scoreboard that matters. And be ready. Because the moment you start living authentically, resistance will come. Some people won't understand. They'll call you reckless, arrogant, unrealistic. But remember, their judgment says more about their fear than your path. Their comfort depends on your conformity. Family, friends, co-workers, they might try to pull you back, not out of hate, but out of fear. Don't let their limitations rewrite your destiny. Surround yourself with those who encourage your evolution, not those who protect your stagnation. This road isn't straight. It bends, it tests, it breaks you down before rebuilding you stronger. But that's how real transformation works. You'll fail, you'll pivot, you'll adapt. And every time you do, you'll become more you. Trust your intuition above all. It's your inner strategist, a sum of every experience, every lesson, every truth your conscious mind forgets. When it whispers, listen, because instinct is intelligence before logic catches up. Drop this affirmation. I trust my instincts. I walk my path with clarity. We've covered everything. How society molds conformity, how independence sharpens your edge, how calculated risk transforms fear into fuel, and how your authentic path is your only road to true freedom. But remember, knowledge without execution means nothing. You can consume 100 videos, quote 1,000 books, but if you don't act, you're still asleep. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs your original fire. It needs your vision, your defiance, your contribution. Every legacy you admire was built by someone who dared to step away from the crowd, who created instead of copied, who walked alone until others followed. Your throne isn't waiting in the future. It exists the second you claim it. When you stop waiting for permission, when you start trusting your own command, that's the moment your empire begins. So, will you keep building someone else's dream, or finally create your own? Will you keep trading your time for safety, or start trading your fear for freedom? Your path is waiting, and it's been calling your name since the beginning. Take that first step now. Send the message, write the line, launch the idea. Courage doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you act despite it. You don't need certainty, you don't need validation, you don't need permission. You just need to begin right now. So drop your final affirmation in the comments. My time is now. My path is mine, and I choose to rise.